Taking photographs of my Petrus Christus headdress, but there were so many of them to make sense of it that I thought I'd just do a quick video instead. So this is the headdress that goes with my red burgundian gown, and as you can see, it reads very much as a standard butterfly hinin with the two wires making sort of bunny loops over the top, but it's subtly different because the standard hinin is, I'm trying to get the head to stay up, is square at the top here, is otherwise known as a plant pot. But this one, you can see, has a curve to it, like some kind of extended weird alien brain. So what I had to do is I had to get a hat maker to make that shape for me. And then the first step was to cover that. This is gorgeous gold and silk velvet, which is very carefully tacked down to reflect the shape of the hat. And instead of the wires that just stick up and you're constantly rearranging them, this one is actually a little bit more stable because the wires loop around and just extend the shape of the headdress and then tack down at the back. It's decorated by, as you can see, rows of pearls with big ones at the intersections and gold surrounding the pearls, which is a reflection of the ones in the original Petrus Christus portrait, which, if you want to look it up, is the donor and his wife. The central roundels were a bit of a cheat, but they're within the realms of medieval embroidery. They're small discs of gilded leather, which I drilled and sort of just tacked down with red silk in a spiderweb pattern with little pearls tacked around. The other weird thing about this particular headdress that intrigued me from the portrait was these wires over the ears, which are a bit like the, I can never pronounce it, ourija that you get in 16th century headdresses. This, of course, is 15th. So I made them by cutting them out of copper, and there are holes in the copper under here that just sort of hold it. And they do go over your ears, and they do help you adjust it and keep it safe. I couldn't quite tell from the portrait what the patterned braid was, so I reconstructed it as a gold brocaded tablet weave, and I just made up a pattern of little crosses and dots, which is well within the bounds of what there was at that point for gold brocaded tablet weave. It's just a really simple, really narrow pattern. It was relatively quick to do. I think there is a little gap somewhere at the back where I misjudged the amount that I needed. This little gap here where you see the yellow underneath, you also see that on the original. If I take it off, you can see, you might be able to see, that I lined it, but the lining is actually a bag that comes out, so if I ever need to get inside there and repair the embroidery, then I can do. So that's my interpretation of the headdress, a fairly weird one, in Petrus Christus, the donor and his wife. Pearls, silk velvet, gold thread, about as luxurious as you can possibly get, but then it's a silk velvet gown, so why wouldn't it be?